VID-EID-MOU-C21.AVI transcript, and no board can ask another board 20 years later to do anything. But it was interesting that some of the comments that were made there, that it was anticipated that to go ahead and approve the annexation without any additional conditions. We want to make sure that they are not locked into these limitations forever. We prefer is for the condition is essentially to incorporate the procedures provided in the ordinance. And from a philosophical point of view, it was concurrence by just about everybody there, the way I read it, that the land use control of the rancheria remains with the tribe. And then further on down is another little comment that I'll page on down there. It really confounds us when we've been going through this gyrations for about 4 years. That you are going to, obviously the line that is there will hold much more, and there's more than enough capacity for what would need to be, maybe needed to be developed in the future. So there was no concern at the time, and it seemed to be at that point, correct me if I'm wrong, council, that the idea was that the land would use planning would remain with the tribe, not the county, or LAFCO, I should say. That it was deemed that there would be, if in fact they would not be bound by these restrictions at the time. Is that in essence what this thing said?
That was certainly the tribe's position, and that's why they asked that the annexation be approved either without any additional conditions or just by incorporating the tribal land use ordinance. But that ultimately isn't what happened. And the last quote that I cited in my staff report near the end of that discussion was then and now Commissioner Sweeney saying, well, I can foresee a tribal old folks home is the wrong phrase, but I'm not coming up with the right one.
Senior citizens.
Senior living center.
Where do you sign up?
Or you know, a store for the tribal members to use. But if we're talking about a commercial enterprise that sells to the world, a lumber yard or a supermarket, that would have to come back to LAFCO for consideration. So to me, that was the motion maker interpreting the intent of his own motion and saying, if certain types of land uses are proposed for the rancheria, LAFCO's got to say okay.
I don't know that this simplified it. George.
Well, it's interesting that we've had 2 public hearings on this and been very open up front with everybody. And when we had our meeting with LAFCO, and LAFCO said that on last Wednesday they were going to agendize this, and it came up after waiting. Closed session came up after about an hour, and LAFCO chose not to bring this open to the public. And they decided that they needed more time. But you know, this is something that we've been talking about for many, many years. And at that particular point, I thought that they had a real good opportunity to open this up and let the public talk about it and let their views be known, but they chose not to do it. But yet we're now here at our public meeting, and this is, I hope, an idea that people, or we can convey this, that we've been completely open and transparent. And you know, this is the way that we want to handle our business.
Any other board comments? I'm going to open up to Harry.
Well, just real quickly, I know that most of you know that I'm on, this is a LAFCO commissioner and as an EID director, and that puts me in an awkward position at times, but I've also tried to represent LAFCO when I'm at LAFCO meetings, and try to represent EID when I'm at EID meetings, and I think I've done that as well as anyone can. The one thing that bothers me about this whole thing, to be very honest, is we have 2 agencies at odds. And I'm not talking about whether or not we might sue one another and like that. I don't know that that will happen, but I just don't like the idea of one agency not agreeing with another agency when it seems like the agreement would be so simple and so easy to obtain. And I regret, I guess, that you know, LAFCO's silence on this, on the issue of the conditions, is probably statements, or lack thereof, their silence is rather deafening. It's too bad that, you know, I'm privy to information that I can't share, but it's too bad that we can't come together on this. Because I think that it served no useful purpose not to go ahead with serving the tribal water. But on the other hand, as an EID director, I hate to cross another agency whose commission members are trying to dedicate themselves to doing the right thing. I think both. I don't want to put either agency in a bad light. I think the commissioners are doing their best, and I think the EID directors are doing our best. And I think, unfortunately, we just haven't come quite together. We're probably about this, this far apart. We're just not that close. And I really wish we could have come together last Wednesday night on that, but it wasn't meant to be. But I wanted to say that I hold no animosity towards anybody.